But things like Excelsior, what was that? Who is this man? I realized that one of the keys to Stan Lee's communication is the fact that when he communicated, he made you feel like a star. Hi, my name is Brian Pulido, comic book creator, most known for Lady Death and Evil Ernie. I'm also on the board of directors of Hero Initiative. You felt involved. He was speaking to you, and in turn, speaking to me. When I read things like The Soapbox or his own work or saw him in interviews, I really did feel like he was speaking to me directly. And the first thing that I was impressed with is this gentleman, Stan Lee, used big words, and he inspired me to actually go find out what these words mean. You know, as I look through this Stan Lee's Soapbox collection, I'm just reminded of my youth, and I would read the Soapbox on a monthly basis. I remember reading my Marvel comics, and sometimes before I read the comic, I would go right to the Stan Lee's Soapbox, because usually he was pontificating about some sort of important thing in the world of Marvel. It seems every month something here happens at Marvel which is more exciting, and it made you feel part of something. Even if you're reading this thing retroactively years later, it's like, yeah, I'm part of this Marvel thing. And really, no one could do it like Stan. Stan Lee's Soapbox, in a sense, was a gathering place for Marvel fandom. That's the thing you would check in on a monthly basis to know, okay, what's the word from Stan? What's our marching orders for the month? And then there's all the crazy diversions that Marvel was trying. Here's them talking about Crazy Magazine. Because Marvel wanted to conquer the universe. It wasn't enough for them to be Marvel Comics. They had to conquer Mad Magazine and humor. And I love them for it. As a young man, I became aware of the first ever Marvel comic book that no longer had the approved by the Comic Code Authority sticker on it. And a series of issues dealt with drug taking. Now that was remarkable to go from an issue of Green Goblin to suddenly an issue that's dealing with a very serious issue. And somehow, Stan Lee was able to really deal with this topic in a way that was easy, palatable, and then the next issue we're on to something else. So I was an unsuspecting audience who became enlightened by, again, you know, the phenomenal work of Stan. It's just rad that the Stan Lee Soapbox exists. In some ways, you know, retroactively, is this the Rosetta Stone? You know, here it's collected all these exciting columns by Stan, and you get to relive your childhood, your teenage years. If you have never read them, you will be delighted the way his words just dance off the page. I gotta tell you, this Stan Lee Soapbox costs 15 bucks, but if it costs 50, I'd call it a deal. Hero Initiative raises funds for comic book veterans in need. Hero is a safety net to help people when that day comes. It's a way for all of us to give back. How do you quantify something that you love and adore, that has really shaped your passions and shaped your life? I see creators that have fallen on tough times, and if I could do something to help that person out, it just candidly makes me feel a little better. You gotta do yourself a favor and jump on this Stan Lee Soapbox. It's a trip down memory lane, even for new fans and old. Be part of history and actually relive the thrills and delights of Stan Lee's phenomenal magical words. Just get it.